Origins of Tombstone. The cold, tall and monstrous-looking Spider-Man villain who takes pride in his grim and death-like appearance, Lonnie Thompson Lincoln is a criminal enforcer who uses methods of intimidation and murder under the deserving nickname of Tombstone. Born in Harlem, New York City, Lonnie Thompson Lincoln didn't have a normal life growing up as a child because of his albino appearance. Constantly bullied by other children, this eventually led Lonnie to take the wrong path in life, as he grew bigger and used his appearance to bully other small children during high school. Aside from his intimidating appearance, Lonnie was basically a loner and a miscreant who forced protection money from other children in school. However, Lonnie would find only one student who displayed any kindness towards him, who was known to be the high school's editor, Joe Robertson. But eventually Robertson would show his loyalty for his position and write an article about Lonnie's activities within school. Feeling betrayed and angered, Lonnie confronted Robertson and intimidated him into pulling the article. After high school, Lonnie steered further down the wrong path as he built himself into a life of crime. After filing his nails and teeth to points, damaging his vocal cords, training to peak physical strength, and engaging in several street fights to build his fighting skills, Lonnie finally landed a job with major crime bosses and gang lords as an assassin, nicknaming himself Tombstone. 8 years later, Lonnie would encounter Robertson once more, who was now working for the Philadelphia Inquirer newspaper company. Upon receiving a tip of the recent murder of a local crime boss from an informant known as Isidore Kipper, Robertson would accidentally meet Lonnie, who murdered the informant before he could mention anything to Robertson. With Robertson witnessing the scene, Lonnie threatened Robertson if he reported anything that he just saw. Keeping this incident as a secret, both Lonnie and Robertson went separate ways once more. Robertson moved to New York to work as editor-in-chief with the Daily Bugle and was forced to hold the secret for over 20 years. Lonnie's criminal career proved successful, and he quickly gained a striking reputation as a dangerous figure within the criminal underground. Realizing the organized crime within New York City, Lonnie found employment there within the Kingpin's, Wilson Fisk, criminal empire, strictly working through Fisk's employer known as the Arranger. Acting as an enforcer for the Arranger, he would be given various tasks, including kidnapping the mutant known as Roland Rayburn. Ironically, both Tombstone and Robertson would meet once more after the Daily Bugle editor learned that Lonnie was now residing within New York City. After harboring guilt of not being able to expose Lonnie's criminal actions, Robertson foolishly anticipated a citizen's arrest on Lonnie. Robertson was brutally attacked and nearly paralyzed by Lonnie, who ensured that his former friend wouldn't do anything else stupid. With Robertson secretly recording his violent encounter with Lonnie, he finally had the evidence to have Lonnie pay for his crimes and handed the recording tape to Peter Parker for safekeeping. Realizing Robertson's secret plan and that Peter Parker now possessed the tape, Lonnie threatened Robertson by endangering his family if the tape ever reached the authorities. Elsewhere, the vigilante known as Punisher would learn of this tape and the situation, which sent him on a hunt against Tombstone, where he ended up battling against and killing Roland, who had taken the costume name Persuader. With Lonnie stalking and injuring Parker's wife Mary Jane, Spider-Man tracked Lonnie down and defeated the criminal before leaving him to the authorities. After learning of what happened with Lonnie, Robertson turned in the tape recording as evidence for Lonnie's crimes and saw to it that Lonnie fully paid for all his crimes and the murder of the informant 20 years before, Isidore Kipper. As Robertson fully recovered and believed that he had seen the last of Lonnie, matters would turn for the worst when Lonnie confessed to the murder of Kipper and stated that Robertson was an accomplice to the murder as well. With little evidence supporting Robertson's defense and the fact that he was at the scene of the crime, Robertson would be found guilty and sentenced to Lewisburg Federal Penitentiary. With Lonnie aware of Robertson's situation, he managed to be transferred to the same prison with Robertson and share a cell next to Robertson's. Knowing that his current situation was much worse with Lonnie next to him, Robertson desperately sought out protection from a fellow inmate known as the Bruiser, with Bruiser successfully protecting Robertson from Lonnie and fending off against Lonnie's hired goons. Tombstone and a handful of henchmen would singly take on Bruiser and murder Robertson's only means of protection. Forcing Robertson into working for him, Lonnie also secretly had a portion of guards and staff working for him and planned on both escaping and gaining revenge against Spider-Man. Knowing that Spider-Man and Robertson were good friends, Lonnie forced Robertson into having Spider-Man secretly visit him in prison. When the webslinger did so, he found that he was led into a trap as Tombstone quickly attacked Spider-Man and forced Robertson to inject into his friend a virus that weakened the hero. Chaining Spider-Man to a wall, Lonnie violently beat Spider-Man relentlessly as Robertson painfully watched. With 2 escape helicopters approaching the prison and the prison alarm sounding, Lonnie used the drugged hero as a hostage and forced Robbie into escaping with him. With Spider-Man almost learning who Tombstone's outside employer was, he managed to regain enough strength to fend off Tombstone's goons, but was unsuccessful in preventing Lonnie's escape and saving Robertson from his clutches. With Robertson realizing that his lack of courage wasn't making anything better, he finally threw himself at Lonnie within the helicopter as both men fell to their apparent deaths in a secluded area within the woods. Both Lonnie and Robertson managed to survive the fall and were taken to an Amish farm to be nursed back to health. With Robertson's family and Spider-Man trying to locate his friend, Robertson's leg healed and he was back to normal health. Yet so was Lonnie, who was waiting for the right moment to kill Robertson for what he did. Finally attacking Robertson, Lonnie would be surprised as to how well Robbie defended himself with a pitchfork, stabbing Lonnie in the chest with it. Leaving Robbie, he walked away to treat his wounds. Both men would finally depart, and Robertson would finally return to his family and be pardoned for his crimes upon revealing the nature of the incident. Elsewhere, Lonnie returned to his secret employer, Hammerhead, as the enforcer planned for his next attack against both Robertson and Spider-Man. Powers and skills. Prior to his exposure to Diox-3, Lonnie Lincoln is a skilled and a relentless fighter who is not afraid of seriously injuring or murdering anyone who stands in his way. Pursuing a criminal career, Lonnie trained his body effortlessly to its highest peak and trained himself in street fighting skills by participating in alley fights and brawls. Even though he looks inhuman because of his albino appearance, Lonnie Lincoln is still a normal human being. With his gained skills and physical prowess, Lonnie was even capable of taking on Spider-Man one-on-one and almost defeated the hero. After his exposure to Diox-3, the chemical substance merged into Tombstone's epidermis and altered his physiology into a hardened, frozen-like state lacking oxygen, but the chemical reaction did not kill Lonnie. His new rock-like skin makes him invulnerable to many penetrating weapons, bullets, and projectiles. He is capable of lifting a maximum of 6 tons and has had a wealthy amount of impressive durability feats. He shrugged off an electric attack at the hands of Daredevil, laughed as a rocket hit him and collapsed a building around him, and it took Spider-Man using all of his might and surrounding his hand in webbing to knock out Tombstone. Spider-Man notes that he regularly damages his hands trying to strike Tombstone, and Daredevil remarked he nearly broke his fingers when attempting a nerve strike. While he isn't sporting superhuman speed, both Spider-Man and Daredevil have remarked that Tombstone is fast for his size and appearance. Tombstone's epidermis also protects him from extreme temperatures ranging from -80 degrees to 1,200 degrees, and his body is insulated against electricity. After his exposure, Lonnie still continued to train to his physical peak and improve his fighting skills. Lonnie has managed to take on a massive appearance and also adapted strangulation and breaking necks during combat.